Time now for business, and Emmanuel Abwajiria is here with more. I'm hearing about some solar energy and all that. We've had this for a very long time.
You know, Aisha, we have a Renewable Energy Act.
Yeah.
But for now, or up until now, we've not utilized it.
Yep.
And the senior minister is actually reiterating the call that private sector must be made to use solar energy, which is in abundance.
He has the power to make it
happen. Of course, he is. Thank you very much. Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining me on Business. Senior Minister Yaw Osafo-Maafo has reiterated the development of a policy to encourage the use of renewable energy sources such as solar energy to drive down high energy bills, especially for the private sector. The senior minister made a call when winners of the Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge, Ebenezer Senior High School, paid a courtesy call on him in Accra. In an interview with Joy Business, the senior minister said government institutions will soon be required to use solar energy at their premises.
It is important for government to give policy support to the use of renewable energy sources such as solar energy to drive down high energy bills.
So as a policy, we are going to push the use of solar in all public institutions and buildings as far as possible. We have to find ways and means of promoting and encouraging the private sector to get in there. And since it helps with our energy bill, the government will be prudent to financially support the private sector, as it is done in Germany, to go on renewable, so that at the end of the day, our energy bill goes down. But we're spending a lot on fuel to promote energy and to produce energy. If we can reduce that amount to encourage the use of solar and wind to go a long way. So we'll finally be the final beneficiary as a government, and we have to encourage that.
The senior minister made the call when winners of the Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge from the Ebenezer Senior High School paid him a courtesy call. The challenge was organized by the Energy Commission to promote the development and utilization of renewable resources and technologies. Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Program Officer the Commission, Julius Inkansa Nyako, noted the adoption of renewable energy is important to extend electricity access into rural areas.
Ghana is looking at achieving universal access to electricity by the year 2025. We know that there are some places in Ghana where you cannot extend the grid to in the next few years. So in these areas, we are promoting the use of mini-grid systems where you can combine other forms of energy. So you have maybe solar and diesel, solar and wind, or even where you have biomass in abundance, you can use that in combination with other forms of renewables to get electricity to these communities.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklo reporting.
Now, the economy has recorded some significant growth for the third quarter of the year. It went up by some 5.6%. This was contained in the Ghana Statistical Service's third quarter gross domestic product estimates. There's more in this report.
The 5.6% was the lowest growth recorded for this year. This is because in the first quarter, growth peaked by 6.7%, while in the second quarter, it went up by 5.7%. According to the data, the agric sector recorded the highest growth of 5.9%, while the services and industry sectors also recorded a 5.7% growth rate. This is the first time in the third quarter of 2018 that the agric sector has outperformed all the sectors. Based on the data released by the Ghana Statistical Service, industry's performance was influenced by the high growth of electricity, which went up by 10.8%. Mining and quarry, which includes oil as well as manufacturing. The services sector's growth was also influenced by the strong growth of the information and communication subsector, which expanded by 26%.
Now, former Deputy Finance Minister George Rickett-Hagen has again criticized Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Attah's claims that the government has put over 12 billion Ghana cedis into the people's pockets. In an interview with Joy Business, he questioned the calculations that went into the figure and stated that by introducing taxes, such claims remain baseless.
Look at utility increases and all the other tariffs, the taxes, the CST tax. You look at the national stabilization levy, which has been extended. It's a tax. It has a sunset clause. We were supposed to end this December, and it's been extended. So basically, you've introduced new tax by extension. The same thing with a special, import levy, the SLI. These are all taxes that you have imposed on Ghanaians and difficulties that you have imposed. If you quantify that, that's 27.2 billion. The math for that is very easy. The math is you take the fuel increase, look at the volumes that is being consumed, and you'll be able to know what price people have paid over and above what it used to be. And that is the money you have taken out of their pocket. They came up with their figures, not properly quantified, but say free education will give you this, I don't know whether per child or whatever. But they came up with calculations that amounts to 12.2 billion. So if we are saying that you have taken 27.2 out of people's pocket, then basically Ghanaians are going to ask you for their change.
Government has begun work on some proposed projects that will receive financial support from the Green Climate Fund created by the United Nations. It is aimed at reducing the effects of climate change in the country. The Green Climate Fund has also been established to provide grants and other resources to countries in Africa to effectively undertake programs that seek to combat climate change. The country project coordinator for the Green Climate Fund in Ghana, Iribi Frimpong, assures that the process will be swift so Ghana can access the fund by the second quarter of the year.
It is expected that the selected projects at the end of a process will be done through a transparent and national stakeholder engagement. The Green Climate Fund was established in 2010 as an operating body of financial mechanism for the UN's Convention on Climate Change. Ghana is working hard to present a considerable project that will attract the needed funds. Project coordinator Iribi Frimpong is hopeful that the process will be concluded next year.
If your proposal is good, they are willing to fund it. They also want projects that are impactful. In that sense, they want projects that can really have significant impact in terms of addressing climate change. Once they meet their criteria, they are willing to provide you funding for that.
So in the Ghana program, what are some of the projects you are looking at?
Well, that is why we started the development of the country program, because we don't have the document yet. What we just done is the launch of the development of the activities, right? So we just started the launch of the development, which means that we are now starting. But they are saying that at the very onset, you need to make sure that everybody is on board. So we need to make sure everybody knows that this is what we are embarking on now.
And time now for our local news wrap. Chocolate makers undermine Ivory Coast and Ghana's cocoa premium with discounts. Details next.
Ivory Coast and Ghana's move to combat farmer poverty with a living income premium for their cocoa sales is being undermined by chocolate makers scaling down purchases and negotiating discounts on other parts of the price. Sources said confectioners have partially offset the new cost by negotiating down another charge paid for West African cocoa. To be able to execute the declaration of 2020 as the year of roads by the finance minister, the Ministry of Roads and Highways has backed over 2 billion cedis for its programs and activities for the year ending December 31, 2020. Of the amount, about 1.3 billion cedis would be pumped into the construction of roads and bridges, with the rest expected to go into road rehabilitation, road safety and environment, and management and administration. The country lost about 90 million Ghana cedis to fire outbreaks between January and September this year. According to the Ghana National Fire Service, this had come about as the consequence of 4,476 fire outbreaks that were recorded within the period.
And that's all in business in this first segment. There will be more business news after 8 p.m.